Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to today's webinar. My name is Blake. I'm a customer success manager here with Concord. We're going to get started in a few minutes. Just let everybody trickle in. Um, Thank you again for attending. While I'm rambling, I'm going to turn on the chat for you guys. Or we're going to get the chat turned on. Currently, the Q&A is available. We're going to get the chat turned on once I'm made host and everything. But please go to the chat, go to the Q&A. If you've been to these webinars before, you know that we love engagement. We love when you guys are talking to us, asking your questions. I'll be able to answer them, hopefully in the call, and maybe even live if it's not a complete gonna take me off of my train of thought. But please, all right, let me, not quite. Sorry about that one. So again, go to the Q&A. Actually, if you have questions, we're going to turn the chat on for you guys so that you can do it. But again, today we're going to be going over subsidiary management. So we're on, I think, series 3 of our like advanced features webinars. We've talked about adding custom branding. We've talked about the clause library. Today we're going to be talking about subsidiary management. One of the things that I believe adds maybe the most value to our enterprise subscription. So that's what we're talking about today, is something that's an enterprise subscription, an enterprise offering. If you guys are on the enterprise subscription, you can take advantage of it. If not, I recommend it, right? This is one of the many features that really adds a ton of value to it. So we're even at the end of the call going to have someone that can demonstrate what they find helpful from a customer that is using subsidiary management and using subsidiaries to find helpful. So, all righty. Okay, I'm going to get started again. Definitely, I know that the Q&A is available. Feel free to try out the chat. Let me know, but we're going to get started. If you have questions, don't hesitate to put them in. Feel free, we'll have time probably at the end. I don't know that we'll cover so much. I can see this, but that's me, Concord. Just note that if we're going to cover just the subsidiary management questions first, and then later down the road, we'll probably have some extra time and you can ask just some general Concord questions. Those are always fun when we get to the end of it. But I'm going to jump in and kind of talk to the how-to about subsidiary management right now. So the idea with subsidiary management is that you can have separate entities on Concord, separate entities. Now, you can create separate companies if you would like and really fully separate them. But the cool thing about subsidiary management is that if you need documents to be separate and unique and sectioned off from your other instances, you can set that up and you don't even have to pay extra for it. You're able to create standalone companies. If you create standalone company A, standalone company B, you have to pay for the seats in these individual companies. One of the best things about subsidiary management is that you can compartmentalize your organizations and your seats carry over so that I can be in company A and subsidiary B and subsidiary C, but you're only paying for one seat across those. That goes for your admin users and all of your other users as well. So you can really, it's a premium feature that allows you to save a lot of money if you want to kind of compartmentalize those things. The cool thing about it is documents are not accessible from subsidiary to subsidiary. So if you have, if you are an HR team, or if you are someone that has a robust HR tool or looking for, ways to sign things like that, the private documents, you can use Concord for your HR documents by creating a subsidiary and keeping those documents private. So without further ado, let's talk about how to create subsidiaries and how to actually do this. And then we're going to go into detail about, what you can do with them and even get the, like I said, the presentation. So right here, I am in my Concord account. You guys should be familiar with this. One thing, if you've never taken advantage of subsidiaries before, you may have seen this up here. This is what we call the company switcher. If once you enable subsidiaries, you'll be able to click this and you'll be able to see your different subsidiaries. So you can see here, I've already created a couple subsidiaries. HQ is my parent company. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a European branch of our organization. And so to do that, you're going to come down to your settings. And from personal details, just right here, you're going to come to create company. Now only admins will be able to create subsidiaries. And so I come to create company. This is where you can do a standalone, right? That one where it's just like completely separate. Sometimes we have people that have like sister companies that might even be competitors. If that's the case, you might want to do a standalone company. But if you do a subsidiary, we'll give you a little couple disclaimers. I'm going to read those to you. So notice that documents will appear in the parent company search results. So if you need your documents to be fully separate, maybe you make an overall parent company with no documents in it, and then a couple subsidiaries maybe where your subsidiaries have your documents in it, something like that. But notice that your subsidiaries can't access each other's documents. And then the best part, in my opinion, is a user in multiple subsidiaries is going to be billed as a single seat. So that's a helpful tool. It's going to save you a lot of money. It's going to really get that value out of Concord that you're looking for. So I'm going to create subsidiary. I'm going to hit next. You give it a company name. So say Coffee Core EU. Give it a your. Oh, see, I can't spell and talk at the same time. I can barely spell. And then tell what it's a subsidiary of. So we're going to make it a subsidiary of my parent company, Coffee Core HQ. I can create it here, or I can invite users. I'm going to hit invite users, and I'm going to add some people, right? I'm going to add my one of my users here, and right here they'll get an invite to it, right? So let's talk about the different subsidiary features. So if I go back, I'm in my Coffee Core HQ subsidiary. What you'll see here is that I have just one folder, right, called test folder. I only have 13 documents in them, right? But I want to highlight kind of the differences here and what you can have. Let me go back to my settings. Let me show you my user list. You'll notice I only have 3 users. One of them is role demo, that person that I added. But I only have 3 users. I go back to my folders. You'll notice I only have that one folder. If I go to one of my other subsidiaries, one that I spend most of my time in, Coffee Core USA, what you'll notice is that this one has hundreds of documents in it. This one is different. It has tons of folders in it, right? And it also has plenty of users. You'll notice I have role demo here. That person has a different role in the subsidiary. So that's another thing. A user, you only pay for their seat once, but you can maybe make them an admin in one subsidiary and just a creator in another. You're not adding more money on there, but they have different roles depending on which organization they're a part of. And then now we can even toggle to this new one that I created, Coffee Core EU, and it starts from scratch. You'll notice I go to users. We see that role demo, that person that I added in my other subsidiaries. He's here as a creator. I can even change him. Maybe I only want him to be a collaborator in this one, right? And each time he'll change, just like I've been changing in my different accounts. He'll be able to have different roles depending on his subsidiary he's in. Notice this one doesn't have a folder. Also, if I come up to here and I come up here, I don't have any documents. And so documents in the search will all be different, right? So helpful here. Let's talk about the HR use case, and then I'm going to call on one of our customers who's using subsidiary management and using subsidiaries in practice. But I think the HR use case that I mentioned earlier is a great application of Concord. It's a great application of Concord and the subsidiaries. So what I like to say here is the cool thing is, like, let's say I'm an admin for the account, but I still shouldn't see, I'm not of a level in the organization where I should see the HR documents, but I'm an HR overall on Concord. So what I might do is that, let's say I added an HR account, Coffee Core HR USA. I shouldn't see these documents. I shouldn't even know that the documents exist This is actually a paid account or a free account. Let me switch back to, we're going to pretend that this EU is actually an HR subsidiary. And so if I actually shouldn't be on this one, but I was responsible for creating it, the cool thing is what I can do here is I can come to users. I can upgrade this person to an administrator. This person then can log in, come to the same screen. They can come in here and they can kick me out. Once they kick me out, it's still a part of my organization. I now have an administrator in the account, but I won't be able to see the documents. I won't be able to search for the documents. So that's a great thing. If you're an administrator and you're just like a project manager, but you shouldn't see the HR documents, you can upgrade that HR administrator, have them kick you out, and now you have a completely separate account that we Concord backend people can see. And if you have questions, we can help you, or that administrator can help you. We have different ways that you can kind of protect those documents. Now this person can send those offer letters, send those termination letters, right? They can send all those the appropriate sensitive documents from the account. So we're getting ready to have just a little demonstration from a customer to talk about how they use subsidiary management on Concord. But before I jump into that, I'm going to stop to see, does anybody have any questions for me to cover? If so, try the Q&A, try the chat. I'm here to help you out. I also want to say, as you may be writing your questions, the Concord customer success team, we're an awesome group of individuals that love to help you. We love to serve you. We love to provide the answers that you're looking for. And all of our services come with your subscription. So if you have questions, maybe that you want to ask privately, do not hesitate to reach out. support@concord.app is the best way to reach out to us. All right. I don't see any questions here at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it over to Sarah. Sarah, if you don't mind, could you share your screen and tell us a little bit about you, maybe your role, and what you guys use subsidiary management for?
Absolutely. All right. Can you guys see my screen? Can you see it, Blake?
Yep, I can see it.
All right. Perfect. So my name is Sarah Eisenhower. I am the Director of Bids, Proposals, and Pricing at Follett Content. We are the largest supplier of K-12 educational materials, classroom and library. So we started using Concord back in October of last year, and we switched away from another platform. And I have to say that the best part about moving from the other platform to this one is that we didn't have to change our processes. We made some tweaks, which are more like enhancements. So we didn't have to redo what we already do. The best part about Concord is it was flexible and there were multiple ways to do multiple things. So we didn't have to go through a whole huge change in process or anything like that. We were able to take what we already do, put it in a Concord, and enhance what we're working on, what we're working through, and things like that. So one of the big things for us that was really important and why we chose Concord is we needed to have all of our company documents in one place, but we needed to have some control. So like Blake was just mentioning, we control using subsidiaries, and we also control using folders. I am the admin for the company that Blake was talking about. So I set up the subsidiaries for our company, and then I have them kick me out if I don't need to be in it. So in my screen here, I'm showing you one of our subsidiaries. This is a library. Now, what I was saying before, one of the great things, there's multiple ways you can do things. We don't use the clause library in the traditional sense that, in a previous WebEx we've talked about. We do a lot of our creation outside because we have a lot of graphics, a lot of details, and each of the things we bring in, none of them are the same. So for us, it's easier to create outside, bring it into store, and then give folks access that need to see it. So we do a lot through folder management. We do a lot through the subsidiaries. So this library is where we house a lot of the things that we need for responses and quotes. So you'll see over here, we have quite a few folders like Blake was talking about. This is how we keep ourselves organized, how we keep the most recent information up and running. So between the main account, which I'll show you up here in the switcher, so Follett Content would be our main account. I spend most of my time in my main account and in my library. Now the library is a subsidiary of the main account. The main account is where I have like 10 people in there. We move in and out, but I would say I spend a lot of my time in here because we need updated information all of the time going out the door. Some of these other ones that I'm included on, I set those up and I'm still on there, but I can't actually see things in there because of the folder management and things like that. And they've changed my role from administrator down to something lesser. And the reason that I'm still in those is those ones are relatively new departments coming on to use Concord. So I stay in there on the lower level of the restrictions or permissions, just to help if there's a questions, anything like that. I can pop in quickly, change myself back to administrator, help with what's needed, and then they drop me back down into a lower thing. And so I can try to not contact Blake as much as I do by, doing some of the initial troubleshooting myself. Now, to be fair, Blake is amazing. We reach out to him all the time. I encourage any of you that use your customer success person, use them. They're amazing. Sometimes I spend way too much time trying to figure something out and Blake knows the answer in 30 seconds. I'm like, why didn't I just call Blake first? So I've learned my lesson. So that's my tip to everyone. Use your customer success managers. They're amazing. So that's really what I have for you, Blake. Is there anything else you wanted me to cover off?
No, I think that's perfect. I think that highlights exactly kind of what we're looking for. And I'll also say that she has some, are they executive administrators? I'm not sure, but
Yes.
there are some
Yes.
subsidiaries here that you have on your account that you don't have access to, right?
Yes, there's like
Yeah.
6 more that I do not have access to. Some marketing folks, admins to our executives and our CEO. Once we got them set up and moving, they did what Blake showed and it removed me out. Now they can add me back in quick, which we've done a few times if I need to help them with something, and then they just remove me altogether. These folks over here, they didn't remove me altogether yet, but I can't see any of their folders because I'm at the lowest access point. Word is getting out in the company that we're using Concord and we love it. I just had a VP reach out to me yesterday and said, hey, heard from one of your admins that, we have this platform. I have all these contracts with external folks. I need to manage them. What do I do? So I'm going to be bringing another one on. We have a lot of documents in Concord. It's about to, I don't know, triple, quadruple with this group we're bringing on. So lots of contracts coming in. But again, we have it all in one place. That is so, so important. When folks leave or transition departments and the contract is sitting in their email or whatever it might be, we have access in one portal, and that was super important for us. And the ease of being able to do that again is another reason we went with Concord. It is so easy to use.
Right. Sarah, that was excellent. Thank you so much for
You bet.
sharing. And I love the last bit of that, talks to what we're talking about with subsidiary management is an enterprise feature. But I think one thing you kind of captured is that a feature for all subscriptions is unlimited documents, unlimited signatures. And so subsidiary management allows you to really compartmentalize all of your documents into specific groups, manage access, and just really get really structured in that. But all of your everybody here, if you have a Concord subscription, you're paying for unlimited documents, unlimited signatures. And so maybe you only use us for a repository. You feel free to get all of your people on board and store all of your documents. I don't know how many people I talk to that they're like, man, we have documents in this service and this service on this computer and in this filing cabinet. One of the benefits of Concord is that you get to get all of your documents into our system, store them, get actionable data from them, and we're making improvements like to our reporting. I mean, we're have some exciting things coming down the road. Talking about subsidiary management, it allows you, like I said, to go further. Like you can create or add different departments onto your Concord account, or different like entities maybe, like, and they need to be separate. So I think I've talked about enough. I get really excited about it. It's as silly as that sounds, but we pretty much hit the end of it. Does anybody have any questions for me, for us on like subsidiary management? I know I've hinted that we get into just any Concord topics, but any questions about subsidiaries? And so I see one here. How is subsidiary access different than folder access? They appear to be the same by limiting access via folder structure. Yeah, so what you can have, so the cool thing, so folders, and everybody has access to folders. Folders will organize your documents in your one organization. And not only that, but also folders control access to documents. And so if I create an HR folder, I can grant access to specific people. But what subsidiary management allows you to do is just fully, and it's more separately compartmentalized. So admins, let's say I'm an admin and I create a folder and that I don't give Sarah that access, right, to just that folder. Well, with her as an admin, she can go into the folder settings and add herself, right? So subsidiary management is further separation. It's further compartmentalization, and just allows more like protection over your documents, I guess. I hope that answers your question.
And I can add to that, we would have so many folders in our one and only main account. Like it would get confusing for the other departments that have to go in there and try to figure out what folder they need, because there are seriously so many folders in each subsidiary that by having a subsidiary and having their own folders, I don't get the phone calls of what folder am I supposed to use? Why can't I see this? You know, all of those things when they have their own access and they're administrators, so they can deal with their own folder structure and all of that on their own.
Yeah, that's a good point. And even if like access isn't necessarily like protection, access and that sort of thing isn't a big deal, it's just further organization. So you might have like separate operating entities like I have here, like a EU section of the company. They just need to have their own instance. And sometimes having these folders all in your one instance can just get muddled and can get messy. I have another question in here. Is it possible to have details of a signatory that maybe read it first? So is it possible to have the details of a signatory that signs on behalf of a subsidiary stored solely in that subsidiary folder? So here's another thing about how subsidiaries work, and I hope I'm going to answer your question right. Feel free to give me some feedback if I nailed it or if I missed the mark. If you have let's say you have a user in subsidiary A and I'm in subsidiary B, I share a document with that user that's in subsidiary B. That document becomes a company document in subsidiary A. So it will actually open in subsidiary A. And so now it will live in two places. It will live in subsidiary A and it will live in subsidiary B. Let's say, so not necessarily, so is it possible to have the details of a signatory that signs on behalf of a subsidiary stored solely in that subsidiary folder? Not necessarily, because the document will always live in the place that sent the document. And this applies to your external parties as well. Or maybe like if you send a document to an external party and they have a Concord account, it works the same way, where it will live in the place that sent it and it will live in the place that received it, separate copies, especially for signed documents. I hope I'm answering your question. If not, feel free to add more details, or we can even jump in a call, reach out to us, support@concord.app, to access that. Great questions. Anybody else have questions for me? Yes, so this person, I think it clicked. Yeah, so this person, I think, wrote it really well. Subsidiaries would give you a cleaner main page, only showing its documents instead of showing me parent docs and subsidiary documents on my main page. That's exactly it. Let me share my screen and I can kind of show exactly what that person just said here, right? So you'll notice if I go back to my HQ subsidiary, my parent company, right? I have only, I think it was 13 documents in here. Only 13 documents. I can't see the other ones. But if I go to my other subsidiary, the ones where I do most of my work in as a CSM, you'll notice that this one has 513 documents, right? So they're separate entities. It's cleaner, in addition to the security and the separation that you get as well. So yeah, you nailed it on the head there. And again, I want to highlight that this is an enterprise feature. So we have 3 levels of subscriptions. Currently, the pricing or the subscription levels are Essentials, Business, and Enterprise. And it's an enterprise function. If you're on our old system that we just transitioned away from, they were Standard, Pro, and Enterprise. So this is an enterprise function, but it's one of the ones that I think are the most valuable. It allows you to just further organize your Concord account. Yep. Anybody else have any questions for me? Anybody else have any questions for me? Okay. Well, great. with seeing that we don't have any more questions, we are going to wrap up today. I do appreciate the engagement that we had. Sarah, thank you again for joining and telling us a little bit about how you use subsidiary management. Guys, before I go, I just want to encourage you, if this is something that you are interested in, if this is something that kind of has been something that maybe you want to explore because you have the enterprise function, reach out to us, support@concord.app. We'd be happy to walk you through it. If you are a pro or a business or an essentialist, if you're a non-enterprise customer and you want to learn more about this, support@concord.app, the best way to reach out to us, and we can set you up. Okay, so does this help? I have a question here. Does this help with the search feature? We have a lot of access finding problems. This has different implications for search. It could definitely help. Actually, I'd be curious. Well, I would love to help. I know a lot of customers, they don't necessarily use this inbox that we see here. They go straight to the search function and they use the search here. I'd be curious. You say you have a lot of access finding problems. Reach out to us. That sounds like something we'd love to help you with. Subsidiary management and search have specific relationships that have a lot of details with them. Customer, you should reach out to us and we'd love to meet with you and talk about the access problems that you're having. I don't necessarily know that it'll help, but it will mean different things. But we can help solve your problems that you have. Support@concord.app. We'd love to help. Okay. Alrighty, everyone. Well, we are at our time and out of content. Thank you guys again for asking your questions. Once again, Sarah can't thank you enough, so thank you. Wish you guys a great rest of your day, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thanks, everyone. Take care.